Another day, another 10 to 15 minutes I have to about a game, and then play it for hours anyway, because I got nothing else to do. You see, gaming's been a thing since before I was even alive, but am I really gonna let a game about a stupid chipmunk talk down to me? There's so many principles in gaming. For example, just because you play what you like doesn't mean you like what you play. I mean, sure, your favorite game could be Pokemon Pearl, but then my favorite phrase might be, you need help. You see, everybody's got a favorite game on a favorite console, and if yours is the same as mine, sure, we can be friends. Oh, what's that I hear? The PS5's your favorite console? Yeah, I'd like a restraining order, please. But at the end of the day, a game's a game. But how exactly did we get here? I mean, we didn't exactly bang two rocks together and then boom, Robot Mario. We went on a lifelong journey, starting with the NES and basically ending with the Xbox 360. And Mario 64 is about as important in gaming as it gets. I mean, without Mario 64, we wouldn't have this exact sleeve of cardboard. Now, is Mario 64 the most impactful game ever made? Probably. I mean, I went to the future without Mario 64, and this is what controllers look like. Terrifying. But is this game really that special? I mean, look at it. Well, there's only one way to find out. Let's ask Reddit what they have to say about this game. Maybe it'd be easier if I just played the game. The NES, one of the first recognizable game consoles, and one that gave us many great games like Kirby, Mega Man, yeah, Beavis. But one name was set in stone for all of eternity thanks to this thing. A name so recognizable nowadays it makes Disney tremble whenever he's mentioned. Mario, an icon in the gaming industry, a man of many talents who showed the world what he could do with a little game called Super Mario Bros. This is a game that everybody on the planet knows about. I mean, ask your grandma, she even knows this game. Before he played golf, partied, and committed tax fraud, there was one thing he did that can only be done once in the history of ever. He laid the groundwork for 3D platformers going forward. And then he got turned into Flat Stanley. Mario 64, also known as the game that everybody thinks was the first 3D game, or better known as, Jesus Christ, these controls are bad. 3D games at this point weren't actually 3D. I mean, look at this, it's just lines. Mario set out to change that, and the pressure was on, not only to make a good 3D platformer, but to also make a fun one that'll be a stepping stone and be remembered for years to come. Because we all know Sega couldn't do it. Mario 64 was released June 23rd, 1996, and as far as video games go, everybody loved it. I mean, up until this point, we had 3D games like this, but in many's eyes, this is the first truly 3D game that ever got released. And if only Nintendo knew the impact it was gonna have on the world. Contrary to popular belief, I wasn't alive when this game came out, so I didn't get to experience it as a 90s kid. The first time I played this game was in 2011. I was 5, and I remember feeling underwhelmed. But remember, this was me at the time. After all, a child's opinion can't hurt you. I mean, at the time, I was playing Portal 2 on the Xbox 360, and the graphics of Mario 64 just looked super dated. I mean, going into a game that came out nearly a decade ago at the time, I don't know what I was expecting. Stupid 5-year-old me. I didn't actually play this game until I was around 7, and I didn't even finish it. I only made it to Wet Dry World, had no idea what to do there, and gave up. But just because I didn't like the game then, doesn't mean I won't now. So how does it hold up today? It's just a video game. This title screen is so iconic. I mean, a giant 3D model of Mario's head? Wow, this is the greatest game ever made! On a real note, this kind of scared me as a kid. Okay, Mario, let me give you some advice. If a pretty girl invites you over because she baked you a cake, you better run in the opposite direction, because she's gonna take your pancreas. I know, it happened to me twice. Man, finally, we're getting to the good stuff. I can't wait to actually play the game. I can only imagine how legendary this will feel. I'm underwhelmed. The absolute impact this game had on the gaming industry cannot be denied, but honestly, this game does not hold up nearly as well as people hype it up to. Now, this was the first N64 game, so you can't expect it to be perfect by any means, but I don't understand the hype people calling this the best game ever made. I mean, it's a good game, but not nearly as good as people hype it up to be. Please do not come after me or my family. Once you play the game for about 6 seconds, you'll reach one of my favorite hub worlds in all of gaming, Peach's Castle. When I was 7, I had fun just running around in circles, getting absolutely nothing done. The princess can save herself. I'm busy. Back in the day, I even remember the rumors of a secret level, only accessible once you've done a very specific set of actions. First, you must interact with this sign over here, a very important step. Then there are 2 trees we must interact with. The first one goes and climbs to the top. It's very important that Mario does a handstand here or this will not work. Then come over to this tree, and it's very important you do not let Mario do a handstand or it'll delete the secret level from your game. You're just gonna have to believe me. After you've done all that, triple jump into the waterfall and you'll now have access to the secret level. Of course the rumors are fake. Kids back then would fall for anything, but today, what are we, stupid? What? Well, this is unexpected. I mean, I could have sworn the last time I checked the wiki, it said this wasn't real. God damn it. Doomsday's upon us. I always knew this day was gonna come. Good thing I rigged the entire Earth for it, right? But if there's one thing I learned from my days of accidentally summoning demons into N64 cartridges, it's that they'll go away if you just ignore them long enough. At least I think so. I mean, this sure looks like Mario 64, but something just feels a little bit off here. Like everything's not quite in the right place. Forget it. I'm probably just making things up in my head. Instead, let's head to the castle so I can finish what I was saying earlier. I mean, I just love the doors and stairs of the castle. Man, what's not to love about this place? I mean, huh? Well, it looks like they did some renovating since the last time I was here. Well, at least there's one door left, and it takes us to everybody's favorite level, Whomp's Fortress. Fun fact about Whomps, they're actually based on Narikabi, a sentient Japanese wall. Why? Whomp's Fortress, such an iconic video game level. I mean, they even brought it back in Mario Galaxy 2. That's how much they love this thing. I just love how bright and cheery everything is here. Okay, who turned off the lights? The goal of this level is to climb your way to the top of the mountain, which could be a pain in the ass due to complaint number 1. F***y-ass camera. Games nowadays use analog sticks for movement and camera controls, but have you seen the N64's camera button? It's better than the Dreamcast camera buttons. Since the buttons don't have a 360-degree range of movement like normal games do on normal systems because they're normal, instead it opts for segmented camera turning, so every time you hit the button, it turns to a fixed position and it never lines up with the jump you're trying to make. And even worse, some of the levels don't even give you the ability to turn the camera certain directions, so either have to hope you're doing the right thing, or give up! But if the camera controls don't make you miserable enough, why don't you try something worse? Like controlling Mario. Controls are something that absolutely make or break a video game. Without them, what the hell are you gonna do with this thing? Some games have good controls, some games have bad controls, and Mario? He chose to make me miserable today. For the most part, the controls felt fine, no hiccups, no problems. But Jesus Christ, it felt like the momentum just stopped working half the time. When I got to TikTok clock, I fell more times than I could count, and I nearly missed many times too because the camera and the controls are just terrible. Oh, and don't get me started on the slides. They're even worse. Sometimes they feel too tight, sometimes too loose. You'll never know which one it is until it's too late. Why is the game like this? Every second this thing's getting stronger. It's gonna take over my Mario 64 cartridge. What will I do then? Well, I guess there's only one thing left to do. We're gonna hunt him down in the castle. Well, here goes nothing. You know, the longer I'm here, the more I start to think maybe this demon's a good thing. I mean, I have access to all sorts of cool levels that aren't in the normal game. Now that I think about it, how could this even be a bad thing? On the other hand, that could happen again. That's a story for another day. Alright, hold on to your seats, everybody. It's our first boss level. All we have to do is maneuver our way to the top of the level, and I must say, it feels like the controls have improved greatly now. I mean, before it felt like I was falling all over the place, but now I haven't fallen once. Oops. I said I haven't okay, moving on. One of the coolest parts about Mario 64 were the boss fights, seeing Bowser in 3D for the first time. I mean, his boss fights in the older Mario games were underwhelming, to say the least, and that's being generous. But how do they hold up in this game? It's just as bad as the 2D games. These boss fights are iconic, and they're cool and all, but they're over before you even get a chance to really do anything. You throw him once, and he's dead. This isn't that exciting. Now where am I? See, this demon thinks he's got a hold on me, but I navigate haunted-ass places all the time. Just ask Luigi over there. Did anybody ever have a fear of drowning, but more specifically a fear of drowning inside your house because it decides to randomly fill with water? Well, good news for you. You can simulate it in Mario 64 now. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what even triggered this. Also, did anybody else have a sense of eeriness following them around the castle? I mean, it's something stupid. It always felt like I was getting chased, but I know it was just my childishness taking over back then. Oh, and here's a quick trivia for all you out there. No. Okay, I think something is really wrong here. Everything's turning purple, and I'm not quite sure what to do now. Well, let's consult the almighty guidebook for answers. We finally made our way to the very depths of the castle, the last place this demon could possibly be. I came down here with one goal and one goal only, to send him back to the spirit world where he belongs. And if he thinks for a second I'm gonna...
The final
battle with Bowser is just such a memorable event in gaming history. As a kid, this made me feel so powerful, like I could do anything, all because I threw a giant turtle into a few bombs. And at the end, your reward from the princess? It just fills me with a sense of accomplishment. Even nowadays, this game is celebrated with speedruns and just about anything you can think of. This game may have run its course in the spotlight, sure, but it's a game that only ever comes once in a lifetime, and I don't think it'll ever be truly forgotten.